Welcome back to Backlog Boys podcast at the cinema. With you, as always, the Christian boy himself, me, Omar. Amen. And as always, my two happy, excited, and energized boys, Samuel, totally not angry at me.
Hey, what's going on?
And Alexander, aloof and indifferent.
Yo.
Exactly.
I thought you were Catholic, not Christian.
Yeah.
Christian is the broad thing. Catholic is a part of Christianity.
Uh-huh.
So Catholic is a Christian.
Okay.
God, it's like you didn't watch the movie Ladybird.
They actually didn't get that into it, but you know what?
Literally, it's a tutorial about religion.
How about we get into it then?
Just in case you didn't know, this is our second time doing this.
If you saw our tweet, you would know what happened.
We won't explain the details. Let's just say it's everyone's fault equally.
Sure.
But let's go on track on the movie. Before we start, though, let's talk some moolah, some money here.
We're gonna say what happened.
No, let's talk about the money.
He doesn't want to talk about how he messed up.
Let's talk
How
about
he lost the recording.
Let's talk about the money.
Sure, Omar, why not?
Budget didn't cost that much. 10 million, 20 million if you want to include marketing. Even though I don't think I've ever seen marketing for this movie.
No.
I don't remember.
This movie didn't have a lot of marketing.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But still, no matter what though, it still made a lot of money for what it needed to do. 79 million, 49 USA, 30 worldwide, which I thought was pretty good for a movie that literally, I can't imagine foreigners would be like, I really want to watch that shit.
Yeah.
And the director, Greta Gerwig, it's her first time ever making a movie. It's her directorial and written debut.
Nice.
And the interesting factoid, or what's that? Stats and facts. This is a speedrun version of it. She was in Isle of Dogs.
Oh, okay.
She voice acted in it. She was the American student who went to Japan.
Yeah, I think so. I still need to watch that movie though.
I haven't. I'm trying to remember. I saw when it came out.
Don't know what that is.
You know what Isle of Dogs is? Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
Okay.
We gotta get some culture into you, Alex.
We do.
Oh, this is what this podcast is for.
Yeah.
According to my boss, I'm the emo boy.
Yeah.
But enough about all those. The small amount of stats and facts I have for this one. Some of the plot of this bad boy. Basically, just Ladybird, her given name for herself.
Yeah, there's a girl named Christine, and she decides to give herself the name Ladybird. But to boil it down and really condense it, it's a coming-of-age story for about a young girl trying to discover herself in the early 2000s and her relationships with her peers and her mother and
Her family.
her family, yeah, in general.
And herself.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we should just quickly talk about the characters. Like, we can talk about Ladybird herself, like what we think of her kind of thing.
I think, like, throughout the whole movie, I hated everyone that
Except-
wasn't the dad.
Except Timothy Chalamet.
No,
well,
he's the
I still
worst.
hated him. Like, I like him as a actor, but not as his character.
Yeah.
Like, everyone in that movie is unlikable, except for, like, her friend,
He had the worst.
Ladybird's
character.
friend, and then her dad.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is, like, pretty annoying most
What
of
the
the time.
minor characters, like the teacher?
What, Mr. Bruno?
Yeah.
Well, they're not important enough. I talk about people who actually have, like, or actually, like,
I don't know. They were
more than, like, 10 seconds.
I feel like he had an important part at first because
Yeah, he was definitely featured a lot more. There's characters who, like, come in and out of the story and, like, fade in and out of importance.
Because it's like, it's her perspective, Ladybird's perspective. So, like, if she doesn't see those characters, you're not going to see those characters.
And it
There's
takes-
no, like, scenes with Billy by her. So, like, there's not her in it, really.
takes
Yeah.
place over the course of a year. So
Yeah.
Her senior year.
you meet people, lose people. You know, shit happens.
Yeah. It's your senior year of a Catholic school.
Half the school.
And I feel like I really kind of like the focus. I didn't go to any Catholic school or anything. The closest I've been to is I went to a church a couple of times when I was a kid. So I don't really have as much of a connection to this. But I feel like Omar here could definitely like attest to some of the stuff. Was any of this really accurate to Catholic school?
Because I came in this movie being like, I'm not going to like this movie. As I think I said in the Blade Runner one. I was like, I wasn't excited. I think finishing it, I liked it more in the aspect because I connected it way too much with the character.
I think you liked it more than both of us.
Yeah.
I think so, actually,
Yeah.
which is ironic. Because the whole Catholic setting is from, again, I haven't been in high school in a while, but it is very the same. Like them having to, one, obviously wear uniforms. They're lucky they don't have to wear like the full button-up ties. They have like the simple polo, which is lucky for them because that button-up shit is annoying and expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But like you have to read the gospel like in front of everyone. You have to. There's more readings, but they only show like really short bits. But there's like 4 different readings you have to do. And the whole eating of bread and like taking the wine, and what Ladybird does in the movie, she crosses her arms, meaning that she hasn't done her first communion, or that she's not of the religion of where you can eat the bread. that's why the father blesses her. So saying I assume she's not Catholic.
Yeah.
Like because she's pretty obviously she's not.
Or she's not committed to it, really.
Yeah. Like she's not just there. Because there are people I know who went to that school with me who are either atheists or just different religion completely. But that's like it's fine.
Yeah.
Like they kind of go there more for like the private school aspect.
Yeah, and Ladybird's case, her parents sent her there because
They were scared.
Yeah, because her brother saw a kid getting shanked in school.
Yeah.
Because he went to public school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other like aspect of like it's like it's more it feels poor, those schools, a lot of times because they're not funded they're funded by what we pay them to.
Mm-hmm.
But high school was better looking, but my middle school, elementary school looked like those schools.
Okay.
Like just like small ass one hallway building. That's all it is. There's no fucking different room. There's 2 floors and that's it. One teacher per one class of like 20 kids. You don't move classes. You're in that class all day.
I couldn't imagine. Dude, my elementary school was 3 stories tall and like
Jeez.
really fucking big. 2 playgrounds.
That's bigger than mine. I only had 2 stories. What the hell?
Dude, literally, my middle school, our playground was across the street, and it technically wasn't ours.
Well, here's the thing about middle schools. I don't even know why they have playgrounds. Like my middle school also had a playground, but
Did
like,
they?
Yeah.
No,
it
it's
did.
like a public.
It was like
park.
kind of a.
It was a public park.
Was it
on
a
the
public
side.
park? I always thought it was
I think
just
mine
a
was a
playground.
public
Yeah, it's named after the school, but it was a public park.
It's lame.
Well, mine is like I went to that school, middle school, but that school is for 1 through 8th grade.
Oh,
So
okay.
kids also go there too.
Gotcha.
Because Catholic school, a lot of times it's 1 through 8 or kindergarten through 8th grade, and there are schools that I know that go from kindergarten to 12. So you're there like your entire fucking
So
life.
I'm just realizing the contrast between my elementary and middle school because I went from a 3-story building to our middle school was only 1 story.
Oh my god, yeah.
You were like, what
It's
is
like,
this?
but it was like really laid out. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
small at all.
But like it was like you could get to anywhere just on that same floor.
Mhm.
I think there's one part where it slopes down and that's what the cafeteria is.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it was pretty small school from what I like started in.
Because like for me, I went one Catholic school 1 year freshman year, and after that we all joined high school together. After that, public school, and the design of the Ladybird school, when it's outside, which I have never seen outside of Mexico,
Yeah.
because it's like I assume because it's hot.
Yeah. When I went to elementary school in Las Vegas, it was a very open-ended school system. Like there were like sections of classrooms, but then like there were no real hallways. It was just like outside already, and like the lunch building was an entirely separate building. Like nothing was really connected and insulated because we didn't really have to worry about snow or cold or anything. It would suck when it rained, but like they always made sure to give kids like, oh, bring your jackets or bring your umbrellas. So for the most part, it was pretty open-ended, and we didn't really have. I don't think I even had heating until I went to like Wisconsin school, and then it was like, whoa, we got like it
This
was
is a high-end society.
Like, thinking back on it, like I didn't like acknowledge like, oh, this is an entirely different school setup than before. But like, I wonder why I didn't, because I went
opposite
from
of Ladybird.
I went from a very open school to a normal inside building.
You know, this is fun.
Yeah, I was like, okay, school.
I didn't know you went to school in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I went to school in Wisconsin for a couple of years, and it was okay.
No, but yeah, like I think for me, my middle schools, there is no cafeteria. We eat lunch in the classroom.
Oh,
And you all bring your lunches. Like,
Jeez.
there is no like
That's-
paid lunch. There's no free lunch.
Really?
It wasn't until I went to high school where there's like a the cafeteria was just a gymnasium.
Mm.
And I don't know for you, Sam. You won't point at Sam, but like we had lunches where like you can get burgers, pizzas, fries, sodas, all that jazz because it's a Catholic school, and technically there's no like laws that you can't not do that. But when we went to West, obviously they had like shitty public school like fucking like small ass crispy sandwiches and like maybe some salads or whatever. There was no like, oh, I want some like, gourmet fucking burgers and pizzas and shit. 'Cause that's like unhealthy.
Yeah.
The whole what's her name, Michelle Obama,
Yeah.
her whole thing or whatever.
Well, actually, I think it's just down to the school district, because I went to the school on the other side of town, and they had an entirely different system. It was like they didn't have the chicken patties wrapped up in foil. They had like every week it was like a different theme. There was like an Asian theme one week. There was like a Mexican theme the next. Like it would cycle through, and those lunches were surprisingly good. Not top tier quality.
is that around here?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because I went to this other side of town too for elementary school, and like I said, 3-story building. Like, but their lunch sucked.
Yeah. The high school lunches were good, but from my younger brother went to middle school, and I can tell that it was pretty much the same as like
Okay.
that. I don't know why, but the high school lunches were totally different. But
Before we jump back to the actual plot of this movie,
I think we went on a tangent.
Yeah, I'll connect it to the movie. There's a scene where Ladybird and her friend are eating like the bread,
okay.
which is like the body of Christ, but they're basically just like wafer crackers or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're eating it like by themselves, and the girl's like, "You can't eat that. Like that's bread." It's like, "Oh, it hasn't been blessed yet," which is true.
Yeah.
I don't know how they could do that because when I had my first communion, I went up to get the end school because we have church in school. I go up there, I get the bread, I like go in the pew. My stomach feels gross, and I'm like, "Can I go to the bathroom?" I go in the fucking bathroom. I just vomit fucking everywhere,
Oh my God.
chunks everywhere. Teacher was like, "What the fuck? What happened?" And I was like, "I vomited." And they were like, "Oh, you gotta go to home now." They're like, "You can't be here anymore."
You got the devil in
And
you,
at the
son.
time, that school was literally like a block, and I take a right, and my house was right there.
Oh,
So like
okay.
it wasn't that far. Like I could have walked there easily. It took
Yeah.
like 2 minutes to go home. After like the third week, that like the lady walking me was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why do you keep vomiting all the fucking time?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I just get sick." And they're like, "What'd you eat for breakfast?" I was like, "Bread." And then I was like, "Maybe it's the bread from the communion." And she looked at me like I was like stupid.
Yeah.
She was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, because every time I eat the bread, it's when I vomit." And then she was like, "Get back in the church. You're not going home because you vomited the bread. Like, you're going to stay in here." And I was like, "Oh man."
You need more God in your life.
And then
Yeah.
after that, I just had to do like the whole cross your arm
Yeah.
thing. Since I eat bread because I didn't want to fucking vomit every like time I went to
I think
church.
you can buy those wafers on Amazon.
You
Probably
can. Like, and I've forced myself to eat more so I can get used to it because I don't want to keep vomiting every time I went to church. Now I can, but I have to like pause. I have to like swallow and like slowly go like, I'm in. But no, imagine a kid as like a Catholic kid being like, "Oh my God, I'm vomiting the like body of Christ."
Jeez.
Like I'm thinking like the devil's in me or some shit. Like I'm about to like get burned in hell. I just hate the taste of it. That's what the issue was.
Committing sins as a child.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I kind of like I didn't like the bread, but I didn't hate it. Like the only time I've ever eaten it was one time I was just like, I should go up there. Like, why not? So then I
I
got
want
up.
the body of Christ.
Yeah, I got up and it's just like everyone else is eating bread. Let me do this. So I got up and did it, and then sat down, and my dad was like, "You just did something real serious, boy."
You better tell the priest that next
Well,
time
he
you
was just
see
like,
him.
"You've taken a next step in your life in Christianity," type stuff. And I
Yeah.
was just like, "Huh?"
You jumped one step extra.
I was like, "Huh?" I just wanted the bread, man.
I was just
Like,
hungry.
Yeah, see, I've
I
done
wanted
my,
to stand up.
I've done my first communion, and I've only gone up there like twice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back up there for my sister's quinceañera coming up soon. So
Wow.
wish me luck, boys.
Can we record an episode at your sister's quinceañera?
Shit, if you want to.
We're like, "Yo, we're getting lit off in here, bitch."
You can't hear anything.
It's all loud ass music, like banda and
Puro
shit.
tamborazo.
Oh my
We're
god.
just like, "So what you think of the movie?"
Anyways, let's refocus
go back.
ourselves.
We were on character.
Sure.
Yes.
Alex, you mentioned Timothy Chalamet earlier, who is one of the main people featured in advertisements and on
Probably
posters.
the biggest
and
name.
stuff.
He's in
Well,
it.
at the time, I don't think he was as big though.
Yeah.
This
No.
is 2017.
But like when you see ads, it's
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
the lady who plays Ladybird, and then Timothy Chalamet.
He's in it for 20 minutes.
Exactly. There's actually, I think, another character who plays a much bigger role in this movie as like the secondary character who
Yeah.
Ladybird bounces off of, and that's her mom. And she does a really great job at expressing like both sides of motherhood. I feel like in terms of having a relationship with your child, where she's caring, but she's also very like strict, and she hopes a lot more for her daughter. I mean, Alex, what do you think of the Ladybird's mom like in this movie?
I thought she had the strongest scene in this movie. That's pretty much it for me on that.
Okay.
I think
all my thoughts were on the
for, like,
spoiler
spoiler
part.
stuff.
Okay.
I think for me, I can talk about like the non-spoiler stuff real quick. Like again, like I relate a lot to the family and the relationships a lot. Obviously, I'm not a woman. I'm not a girl. I'm not Ladybird.
You sure?
What's that? You want to prove it, big
No.
boy?
No.
Anyways,
Dude, get your cock out of here.
Okay.
I get it where like the mom is a good mom and a bad mom. Where like I get where the mom wants to make her daughter the youngest because there's the older brother to her, Ladybird. Where like she wants her to be the best version of her, but the way she's going about it, like pisses off Ladybird because she's a young woman, like she's a young teen or whatever. And like obviously, one alone, you don't like being told what to do when you're a teenager most of the time, especially from her mom. And then like the way she like what's the word? Passive aggressive. Like the comments, she's like, oh, are you tired? And she's like, no. It's like, oh, are you tired? It's like, no. It's like, oh, you're dragging your feet, so I thought you were tired. It's like, then why did you just say stop dragging my feet. Just say, lift up your feet more or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to go roundabout way or whatever. Or be like, oh, I love this dress. And she's like, that color? Like, not saying what she wants to say during those scenes, but there are other times where she's like, you have to do this, 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 this. Our family did this. Like, she'll say the shit like up front. But like with evolving like her individually, she'll go roundabout ways, which for a teenager would piss you off because you would assume that your mom doesn't like you or doesn't love you. At least the same way that like your brother, in her case, her brother, where like, oh, he went to college and he's working a supermarket, and he's living still at home with his girlfriend, and they don't say shit to him, yet she does like one wrong thing and then like, oh, you're fucked up. So in your head, you're like, how come you don't like do shit for him but not for me? You think they love him more than they love you, and you kind of start like doubting that like your own family doesn't love you, which is kind of her whole problem. Where like she wants more attention because she thinks she doesn't have the correct attention from her own family.
Yeah.
So she's very like an attention whore, and pardon my
This is
French.
Ladybird you're talking about, right?
Yeah, Ladybird. This isn't
But
me.
like in terms of her relationship with her mother.
This isn't a real life thing. I'm not talking about me right now.
No,
I'm joking.
Because we were talking about her mom,
You
but
were
yeah,
talking
I
about
understand
her
what you're getting at. Yeah.
Or like when her mom is like, there are times where I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't say those certain things to her. But there are times where you have to slap your child, not literally, like slap your child with like,
It's
Catholic school's
tough
expensive.
love.
It's very expensive. My mom told me later. I didn't know that when I was in school, how expensive it was. Like, it's a lot of money, and like she's not dicking around that much. But like there are times like you have to like they're poor as fuck, so they're like you have to like calm the fuck down and just do your shit. Because Ladybird was like, oh, I want to do this and this. Her mom's like, be real, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you can't do that shit.
Well, I think her mom is also kind of just emblematic of the era. This movie is specifically set in what 2003, 2002, like that era.
Post barely 9/11. Like 9/11 is fresh.
Yeah, like
I think they say 2002 in the movie.
yeah, like in the opening shots of the movie, like when they're going through the school, there's like a 9/11 like never forget kind of thing going on. And like her mom's talking about why she doesn't want her daughter to go to school in like the East Coast in New York because of the terrorism.
There are like TV scenes, like the news.
Yeah. So the invasion of Iraq. There's a lot of that going on, and she's kind of just emblematic of like a scared, worried, nervous person, mother especially at the time, who just doesn't want anything to happen to her daughter. That's why she sends her to private school. That's why she doesn't want her to go too far away. And she, I think, if anything, fleshes out that era more than anyone else in this movie. I mean, she's constantly worried about how other people think about her. And I know there are people like that now, but I feel like that was more prevalent, not even 20 years ago. Like, people definitely cared about how they appeared to their neighbors and to their peers. But I mean, in my life, I feel like I don't even know my neighbors. Like,
Yeah, like when I go outside, I'll be like, oh, hey, like, we'll say, hey.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll be like, oh, hey, like, wonderful, like, generic, like, pull a card out of a weather deck, like be like, oh, the weather deck is pretty cool. Like the weather's nice. That's basically it. Like I don't really like. I don't know their names.
My next door neighbor bought a house and just left it there. So on my left side, I don't got a neighbor there.
Nice.
Yeah, I think even in my other like I used to live in a lot of different places as well. Like I didn't know like any of my neighbors that weren't family.
Yeah.
Like if they were a family member, obviously, but that doesn't count most of the time. But yeah, like I don't know shit.
Yeah. So
I
this
don't really give a shit with like because we live in the same areas. So like either we're all like poor because we all live here, or we're all kind of like well off because we all live here. You know?
Yeah. Which is totally different from what Ladybird's mom is kind of thinking of. There's other characters too. We mentioned Timothy Chalamet's character. I think his name is Kyle. He's like the sexy bassist or whatever.
It's
like
proto hipster.
Yeah, the proto hipster. I mean, he comes off as kind of a douchebag. Like he's
Conspiracy
talking
theories.
Yeah, he's talking about the government tracking you way before like the modern meme now is like, oh, why would people put like tracking devices in our brains if it's already got it in our phones? And he references that line, and Ladybird laughs at it, but he takes it dead serious.
He looks at him like her like, what are you laughing for?
Exactly, and like he talks about like the government putting fiberglass in like clothes, cigarettes
when you smoke them,
and it's just he's definitely kind of a weirdo. But Ladybird thinks he's really cool, so she kind of like is a bit of a poser to get his attention.
When they showed him, I hated it because I was like, I have a cousin exactly like him.
No, really?
And it's like it felt so eerie to see that because I was like, oh, I just reminded of him. And my cousin's worse than him. Like he's farther on beyond that. There's some things he said, and I was like, oh, all right, man. I was gonna pretend like I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
But like, no, yeah. Especially like in Catholic school where like there are people like that that like you think they go to Catholic, like the mom, like you go to Catholic school for be like a good kid, then like something like a Kyle was his character. Yeah, his name is Kyle. Like something like that will come out where they're just like on the completely deep end of it, where all those conspiracy theories, smoking drugs.
I feel
and
like
shit.
those are just kids trying to rebel against their parents.
Yeah, honestly.
I feel like he just believes that probably.
Oh, I feel like Kyle in this movie did
Timothy,
believe it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like kids in real life are just trying to like tell their parents fuck off.
Yeah.
And there's a certain character, Danny, ironically enough, probably the most screen time of the boys.
Yeah.
Character. There's a theater kid
Yeah.
that Ladybird originally
Her
gets her
first
fancy.
boyfriend.
Yeah,
right?
yes.
First boyfriend.
And his kind of arc where like the stuff he has to go through is like another like interesting point because again it's from the 2000s. We'll probably talk more about it when we jump into spoilers.
Oh, and not
But-
just the 2000s. He's also because of the Catholic thing.
Yeah,
yeah,
but we'll get more into that in
Yeah,
the
in the
spoiler section.
2000s.
But in general,
Yeah.
Danny is like the total opposite of Timothy Chalamet's Kyle. He has blonde hair. He's a little taller. He's definitely a lot brighter of a person. He's very straight
easily
and
talks to
narrow.
like
Yeah,
anyone.
he-
It's fine.
He's super on the straight and narrow, and he definitely is not at all like what Lady Bird eventually gets involved in, which probably is why she kind of goes to Kyle because she's
opposite.
the exact opposite. Yeah.
Like ironically like rebelling against like her own interest of like, oh, why like this one? Now I'm gonna
Now I'm gonna
go
go
someone
for
else. Like,
yeah,
complete
exactly.
opposite of this character.
It's all about just figuring out exactly how she wants her life to go, like, and who she wants to spend it with. But somebody she also spends her life with is her friend Julie.
She's probably one of the funnier characters.
Yeah, she immediately starts off as kind of like a weird, funny, quirky character. I mean, when we get introduced to her, she's talking to like her mom and some guy who she calls Uncle Mike. And then Lady Bird's like, stop calling him Uncle Mike.
Why are you doing that?
So then I was like, oh, what's that about? And then it gets revealed that Uncle Mike is actually her mom's boyfriend. And for some reason, she's calling her, like, this is a person who she might eventually call dad, but like she's calling him uncle. Like, it's really kind of weird.
She says, I'm just testing the waters.
Yeah.
She's saying this like, I hope they get married.
She's a very trustworthy person.
Yeah.
It's very straight and narrow as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she also like Lady Bird, when she's signing documents, she puts her like Christine and then Lady Bird and then her last name. And then Julie is like trying to get into that because I think her name's like Julia or something. And then
She
goes,
writes Jules.
Jules
Yeah.
in quotations. And
She was like, why'd you write them quotations?
she's like,
It's like, oh, it's not my real name.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you
so
can just write
I
that.
think just like how Lady Bird was trying to change herself like to appeal more to Kyle, Jules is trying to change herself to appeal more to Lady Bird.
Yeah. But in general, I thought Julie's character was really nice to see, and she was definitely a kind of nice break from Lady Bird's general like
Antics.
Stupidity.
yeah, like when Lady Bird is annoyed or upset about things going on in her life and where she's living, Julie's just kind of content and she's kind of happy with where she's at. She does have a weird relationship like with her teacher, Mr. Bruno. Like there's some sus stuff going on, and I thought it was gonna go one way, but it kind of doesn't. Like it gets dropped pretty early on.
Definitely one-sided.
Yeah, but
Speaking of that, Mr. Math teacher.
yeah,
That projector. Giving back those anime flashbacks of back then where turn on the
Shut up! Don't make
Like
me
that
don't make me
loud-ass
feel
fan.
old, man.
yeah, man. Those
seeing that shit, I was like, ugh. I hated those part of
Elbow
class.
projectors.
But there's something about them, like I don't know. Lately, especially, I've been kind of into like just the
Nostalgia?
tactile, nostalgia. But like in terms of technology, like I really like the idea of like old school like cameras and like vinyl. Like I don't know, I'm just getting to that age where I'm just like, man, old stuff is cool now. Like
Don't say old stuff.
Bro, that shit was like 20 years ago at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's old.
but
But
we were
it's-
still using it.
I know. I don't know. It's just something like. I mean, in general, I feel like I'm getting old, but like I'm only 22. But
Kids these
what
days
was it?
don't know what an elbow projector is.
No, dude, like I get upset. They've been like remodeling every Walmart that I've been to, and I'm like, why are they changing it? Like, stop moving stuff around. Like, I get annoyed by, I get annoyed by change now. Or like the Spotify app updated the last week, and I was like, why'd you do that? Like, it was fine the way it was, and now it doesn't work as much anymore. Like, I'm that kind of old man now.
I
You
think
know?
I think I went to face for like maybe like 3 days and that's about it.
Yeah.
Like I'm very much like that's cool. Like when I look at those, because I have in this very room like I have my old consoles like PS2 and 64 GameCubes, and I'll plug them in, I'll play them sometimes, and I'm like, this is old and shit, and I just turn it back and play the new shit instead. Because I'm like, the old shit. There's a reason why it's old. Because it sucks probably most of the time. We have
Nah,
to do
dude.
better, newer things. So why the fuck would I want to use the old? Yeah, it's like kind of cool to have memories, but like in reality, that will last like 5 minutes.
And
That
also-
feeling.
Yeah.
And after that, I'm gonna be like, I regret buying this.
Most of the time, those games you want to play are on the newer console.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like honestly, like they're fucking Nintendo. We're not going into that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, maybe I don't know. We can just quickly get into how we feel about the movie. Like, would we recommend it? Kind of.
I
stuff?
100% recommend it, but it's definitely not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's very like, one, not for kids, but like, I can't imagine like an older adult male watching this and being like, this is a good movie. Like I relate to. Like there's like unless they enjoy cinema, like film, yes. But like if we're just for plot, no.
Yeah.
This is very like a coming of age, and that's because we're all still young.
If you're into like A24 movies, then this is probably gonna be up your alley.
Well, to be fair, there's also like no like wacky gimmick to this though.
No.
A lot of A24 movies have like at least one thing that's like
No, but like
different.
in general, like if you go to the theaters to go see like, man, I can't wait to go see Fast 7 or like
You
or
probably
the
should.
MCU movie.
You
like,
probably shouldn't watch Ladybird.
exactly. Like this isn't gonna be like up your alley at all. There's no captivating story that's like spanning multiple
Game-changing.
locations. Yeah, this is just it's a very subtle and toned down, realistic story in the sense. So, but I would recommend it to anyone who knows that ahead of time. You know what I mean?
I would not.
No,
No.
why not?
So it's a really well-made film, and I really liked it. But if you can't find a special like connection to it, like Omar has a Christianity thing, you have like the setting similar to what you lived in Las Vegas. Like for me, it was like her wanting to go to college out of state because I wanted to too. I wanted to get away from here. The more I thought about it, I'm like, I really don't want to leave my hometown, and that's kind of how she feels at the end of the movie. She kind of regrets like leaving. Where does she live?
Sacramento.
She kind of regrets it, and there's a shot of her driving down by it at the end. I feel like that.
Mhm.
Like I ended up going to college like 30 minutes away from here, so I kind of get the feeling of going away, but then I also have to like come back like in a couple hours.
Hey, you feel that feeling for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, well, I'm back home now.
Yeah, but like, yeah, no, if you can't find a special connection to this movie or something similar, I feel like you wouldn't enjoy it. So I would not recommend it to anybody. Like, I wouldn't recommend it to I wouldn't recommend it to a city kid.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we can get into spoilers.
Spoilers.
Alex, you mentioned that final shot where Ladybird Christine is driving down
Yeah.
Sacramento. I think that's my favorite shot. One of my favorite shots in the movie because there's like an editing thing they do where she's driving down, seeing all the local sites, and then she like turns her head and then it like shifts into her mom driving the car, and it's just like so. I'm like I feel like it's not only showing that she's accepting her relation to her mom, but it's almost kind of like, oh, I am my mom. I am kind of like my mom. Like. I don't know. It was really touching and like very subtle. I feel.
It was a nice conclusion to their
arc.
to their
kind of.
fighting dynamic.
Yeah. But Alex, earlier you mentioned what you thought was the most powerful scene of the movie. What was it?
So when she's getting ready to leave for college, her mom had been arguing for a while, like to the point where her mom hasn't been speaking to her for like months, weeks.
I would say weeks.
Yeah. And it's getting time to say goodbye, and she's just like, "Oh, I had to pay for parking. I'm not gonna say goodbye to you. Bye. I'm saying bye right here."
I don't think she even did that.
Oh,
She just like, oh, I don't want to pay for parking.
Okay,
She
yeah.
kinda just closed the door. And that's it.
and then she drives off, and like it looks normal at first, and then the more she drives, you see her starting to tear up, and you see her starting to make a U-turn. She goes back, and she realizes that she's too late to say goodbye, and I'm just like that. If I had a kid and I did that, I would feel so terrible.
Yeah.
I think the other thing about that scene was like the camera's like on the windowsill looking at her the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's literally just one shot her going. So you
Yeah.
can slowly see her
s-
emotions.
You see her getting destroyed.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
her changing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like again, like with her mentality of like hypothetically, if what she thinks is right, that could have been the last time she would have seen her daughter.
Yeah, that
It's
could
like
have
she's going to
been
New
one.
York and like who knows what the fuck could happen.
Yeah.
So like, and she's like, well, that's the last thing I say to my daughter is literally like, oh,
And that
we're
almost
too
happened.
poor to pay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Like,
almost
I'm too poor to
happened.
pay a fucking parking. That's the last thing you say to your daughter. It's like that's fucked.
Yeah.
And I reckon the kind of prophecy, kind of
Yeah.
not as bad, obviously.
Mhm. But
Prophecy does happen.
yeah, ironically enough, she does end up going to a hospital when she gets to New York. But that's because she drinks too much and.
Alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, but she doesn't end up getting like sick. She just kind of wakes up and leaves the hospital. Like,
Yeah, I thought they were
Yeah.
just like, oh, whatever.
I mean, it kind of felt like she was gone for a bit. Like,
yeah,
She
she
didn't know
definitely
what-
didn't know what day it was.
yeah.
But
Yeah, that scene where she like asks her random like, "What day is it?" And the guy's like, "Sunday," and like the shot's like you can still see his face, and he's literally like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
What is bitch asking me that? I think also that scene where like she's in the hospital, she wakes up, she sees that little boy,
Having his mom.
with her mom there as
Yeah.
well, and she's like, also now she's waking up alone now because she doesn't
She's like,
have
I don't have
her
a
mom anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's kind of with a slap of like, this is what you wanted.
Yeah.
To not be with your mom, to be alone, you know. Oh, she's like, oh, tell me the amount of money you paid for everything in my life. I'll pay you back, so I don't have to owe you anything. Like all those kind of things were like, it kind of climb back to that scene where she's like, oh, like being a mom isn't about like money, blah blah blah. Like it's about like the love and care
Mm-hmm.
you have like for your own child or whatever. That's something like a child would never understand. Like none of us will probably ever get until you know we have a kid or something,
Yeah.
or something similar to a child, where like the amount of stuff they do, a parent does for a child is like immense, and we probably never be able to understand it, especially a woman, because for us it's like they for giving birth and all that jazz.
Yeah.
That's even a bigger like stuff they have to go through.
But speaking of like getting understanding, we also alluded to the character Danny having a little bit of a
Kerfuffle.
a little bit of a thing going on with his life, and we find out that the reason he breaks up with Ladybird, or
He's
Ladybird,
He's not a.
He's not on the straight and narrow.
yeah.
He's not a straight and narrow Christian. Let's just say that.
Yeah, he's a little crooked, but yeah, Ladybird ends up finding him kissing a boy in the boys' bathroom, and she finds out he's gay, and she at first is very aggressive and mean. She doesn't want to talk to him.
She just ignores him completely.
Yeah, she just wants to figure out a way to avoid him as much as possible. But then there's a scene where he kind of meets her at her work, and she thinks she's coming to like apologize to her or try to like get back with her, but he ends up just breaking down and saying like, "Oh, please don't tell anyone," kind of thing. Like, because again, this movie takes place in the early 2000s, and that was an era where not only publicly being gay was like weird, but just in general being gay was like not considered a good thing. There's, being gay was like the butt of a joke in a lot of comedies at the time.
Yeah,
And
there's
it's,
so many like terrible movies that like that's the comedy presence. What's the one with like Adam Sandler and like Kevin James?
Isn't it's like I now pronounce it Chuck and Larry or
Yeah, like
something
that,
like
shit like that. Fucking not Tyler Perry, fucking whatever, the guy from Friends. He had like a movie where he has like his friends think he's gay. That's how he gets closer to a girl. All the jokes are like that he's gay, but it's not even like good. Matthew Perry. I was thinking Tyler Perry. My bad. Matthew Perry, completely different actor.
the same guy.
Yeah, the same person. But yeah, like those like back then, it's like it wasn't like open. It wasn't like a normal. Like it was like basically shunned back then.
Yeah.
And it's also a taboo for Christians, Catholics.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
Most
I say
religions.
we, like I'm sorry, I said we, not in the aspect of like I don't believe that obviously, but like Catholics do.
Yeah.
But they're very like oh, you're a sinner, you're going to hell if you like say shit like that.
Oh yeah.
I think also like with his family, they had the Reagan poster as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then Ladybird's like, was this a joke? And he's like, no,
No.
it's not. They're being serious.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, he's like literally in the worst possible situation
Mhm.
where like that he's gay and all of that shit is gonna fuck him up. That's why he's like, please don't say anything. Like, give me time. Like, I need some time
Hey,
to tell him.
props to Ladybird for not telling anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
good-
she like understood. Like,
Yeah. But like kid in the 2000s, you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna tell everyone.
she
Yeah.
seems very like cool with anything. Probably,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. I wonder if that's gonna be on the recording.
I hope not.
Oh,
Cut it.
that's way
Let's
to
just
be.
not talk. Yo, mama.
Just put that in somewhere. All right.
But Alex, were there any other characters you wanted to get into in terms of spoilers, or is there anything else that about this movie that really
There
stuck
is
out to you?
one scene that it's not emotional or anything, like not impactful anyway. It just hit a little too close to home, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
This is like, the scene where she's throwing out the grade book. So she like
Oh,
But she
yeah.
sneaks into a classroom.
she sneaks into the classroom, throws
And
away
just
the
throws
grade
that shit
book,
out.
and she
Yeah.
tells her friend, "We're done with the learning part of high school." And I'm just like, "Fuck." That was for as someone who didn't go to most of their senior year, I felt that. I was like, I don't need this. I'm about to graduate. I don't want to go to college.
Yeah.
And then fuck school. I went to school for like 1 or 2 times a week. Not even the full day. I show up like either for the first half of the day or the second half of the day.
Jesus.
That scene just hit a little too close.
Yeah, once I got my license and I can drive myself, I was pretty kind of like, I don't have to go to this.
Yeah, I would either there'd be times where I would ditch at like towards the end of the day and just go home because I didn't have to have anyone pick me up. I would just drive myself somewhere.
I would never leave early.
Oh no, I
I would
left
just
early.
show up late.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I could never leave early.
I did all of it.
Jeez.
I think
Him.
mostly because a lot of like my later end classes, I liked them.
Yeah.
So like I just skipped all my early shit so I can go just to there.
No, there was a point where I would only show up and go to my physics class.
I was a good noodle, and I went to every class I could. Like if I couldn't get a ride somewhere, I found a ride. Like
And senior year, best grades. I had almost all A's.
I mean,
I don't know how I did it.
I didn't have
though.
my best grades. They have A's and B's. I don't know how that works, but yeah.
I think because I just knew like what I could lose and what.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Like it didn't matter.
you knew what days to
Yeah,
show
yeah.
up.
Out of all of us, I think Omar seems like the good noodle for school.
Nah,
But
Nah, once
No.
I got the taste of
by
rebellion,
you know him.
by looks, I would say Omar. But knowing you guys, I'd say Sam.
Yeah.
Sam is the square.
Sam.
No offense.
I
This is
got-
Jules.
Sam's the type to get an award for perfect attendance and then not show up to receive the award.
Yeah, dude, that was. Have I ever told you about that, Omar?
No,
Yeah, in middle
bit.
No,
It's
it's
real
in
thing.
middle
It's
school.
true.
Yeah, in middle school, I showed up to every single day of middle school.
For 3 years.
6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Holy
I was there for
shit.
every day because I never was sick or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I don't get sick. Like, period.
You're
Like,
built different.
if I get COVID, I'm dead. Like, I've got zero immunities to anything. But anyway, I went to every single day of middle school, and I didn't go to that senior 8th grade graduation night because I was like, that's lame. Like, whatever. And my mom later was like, hey, when's that graduation night? And I'm like, oh, that was like 2 weeks ago. And she's like, oh, I wanted to go to that. And I'm like, oh,
Oops.
sorry.
Oops.
But I didn't go because I didn't care. And I guess that night they like printed out a plaque for me, like a whole wooden plaque, and it was like perfect attendance. Sam Guzman would come on up, and then they went,
Crickets.
he's not here.
That's perfect.
It was so fun. It was like the talk of the school for like a whole week.
Yeah, yeah. Like I went up. My friends were like, "Dude, where were you last night?" And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Oh, the graduation night." I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that was happening." And then they told me about it, so I had to go to like the front office to be like, "Hey, I'm here to collect my
Can I
plaque."
get my perfect
And they're
attendance
like,
plaque?
they're like, "Oh, you're that kid."
Oh, now you showed up? It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
damn.
Yeah.
I missed one day.
Well, I think what happened was I got killed. Like my vibe for that graduation stuff got killed because I didn't realize there were 2 picture days in 8th grade. So there was like regular picture day, and then there was like senior portrait or 8th grade portraits.
I don't know.
I just thought there was one. So the first picture day, I showed up with like a dress shirt.
Didn't you
and,
have a suit?
I had like a suit.
Yeah.
And like everyone was like, "What the fuck are you doing, you fucking weirdo?" And then some of the teachers were like, "Oh, he wants to look nice for picture day." So then that happened, and I was like, "I don't want that to happen again." So for 8th
Senior
grade
portraits.
portraits, I was like, "I'm just gonna wear like a flannel or something. Like I don't care." And everyone was like, "Sam, what the fuck? You were supposed to wear the fucking." And I was like, "You know what? I hate this
Fuck
whole.
you guys.
I hate this whole
Hey,
process."
don't worry, I have a whole fucking cowlick in my 8th grade portrait.
Oh my god.
I think every picture day I wore nice shit anyways.
Nah,
My mom would
dude.
be like, you have to.
I peaked on picture day for senior and junior year.
I forgot we had picture day in high school.
Yeah, we did.
Like,
we had remember we go to the
Oh,
blue gymnasium?
Yeah.
We took our pictures and
I
stuff.
forgot about
Senior
that.
year, I just looked so cool. I had my red hair. I had a button-up shirt. Wait, that was junior year. And senior year, I had a whole fucking cardigan. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks so fucking nice.
But anyways, in terms of schools, this movie is pretty good. I don't know what else to say about
It's
it.
really
there's
good.
a one character I want to talk about
Yeah.
that I mentioned earlier
dad.
quickly, the dad character.
Mm.
I love his character. He's definitely my favorite character because his arc of like he has to be like the good dad, like the good parent, not the dad in general, where like he has to like be the mediator between the two like stubborn women of his life, or his daughter and his wife, and like you find out later like in the movie that he has depression. But it kind of builds to it because it's like, oh, he lost, like not his job is like firing people left and right. He could be next. Then he does get fired, and he, like they finally he has like the depression pills. But yet, like every time you see him though, he's always like being nice to Ladybird because again, like it's through her eyes. So like you never see him at any low point really. He's always like the positive, making jokes with her. Like with the cupcake on her birthday. He's like, can I have some? Like it's a small ass cupcake or whatever.
Yeah. Or like, let's split a bag of Doritos and don't not tell your mom.
Yeah,
It's
that was
like,
so funny. That was so funny.
Actually, I do kind of like everyone's relationship with food in this movie. Like at the beginning, Jules' mom and the guy she's
Uncle.
dating, Uncle Mike, they like bring lunches to Ladybird and Julie, and like they're eating it all the time. They're eating the wafers, and then eventually she's like, "Oh, I'm getting too fat," even though she looks fine. And then she's like,
I gotta
I'm
go on a
just-
diet.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna not eat these anymore. And there's like small little details like that. Like there's the whole when they're eating the wafers. I don't know if you understand, since you're a little baby boy, Omar. But they're talking about the shower head, and
yeah.
good. And then there's that scene later on.
Because they're showering, because they gotta get clean.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
For their sins.
Sure.
Exactly.
But then there's that scine later on with Ladybird's like in the bathtub, and then just the toes, and I'm like, hey,
I love feet too.
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm a Quentin Tarantino fan.
Oh, I didn't realize this was directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Another bit where like midway with the lunches,
Yeah.
she's like, "You don't enjoy the lunches because Uncle Mike might not make them anymore." As alluding to, they might not like they're not might not get be together anymore.
Oh yeah, like having issues. Or
yeah.
whatever.
But she said it such like in a normal way, like not even like she was concerned. She was like, "Oh, don't get used to them though."
Yeah, she's just like there's just small little details here and there that I really like throughout the movie. There's like this weird like subplot with like one of the pastors at the school.
Oh yeah, the father.
Yeah, and like they're doing like an acting what is it, like a training thing, an acting
Rehearsals.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, we're gonna go in a circle and see who can cry first.
That's so weird.
And then,
I've never done that by the way.
No.
I've never seen.
but
that.
you've never been in an acting thing, have you?
Yes, but
Oh.
not like
Not like that.
no.
Okay.
Also, one of the pastors sick.
I think so.
No, it's him.
Yeah, it's him.
Oh.
Not
Because-
he's sick because he's not there, but they don't tell him because he has like depression probably.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that what he had?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
because the
Oh.
mom is okay. So
Insulting
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's the crying scene, the crying rehearsal, and then everybody's crying, and all of a sudden he starts crying. Then you find out that he lost his like 16 or 17-year-old son to drug addiction or whatever, and then it's like, oh, that might be it. And then later on, you find him. You see the pastor again talking to Ladybird's mom, who works as like a mental
There's a
health.
scene before that
What?
where they're in the play.
Oh yeah.
And he's the like Jules. I forgot she says something, and the pastor's like they didn't get it.
Oh
Like the play.
yeah.
I think it's supposed to be like he. I think he like
wrote it.
Yeah, like
Well-
involving something about his life. And
well,
since
I
everyone
just
was
got
like,
it.
Maybe.
So
I
that's what
didn't
he's
get
like.
that.
Because that's the last thing you see him before that. So
Yeah,
the
you're
mom,
right.
he's like they didn't get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, because I'm just thinking like there was a scene where he was talking to Ladybird's mom, and she's like, "Don't tell Ladybird." I'm like,
Yeah.
did that ever come back around?
No, well, just because her mom works as like a mental health
Yeah.
physician. So
Yeah.
he definitely also had depression or something like that. But I guess it was so bad that he just stopped showing up to school.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of turned it into a bit because
The football.
the JV football
That was
coach shows up
so funny.
and he's like, "All right, guys, turn up your playbooks," and he's like yelling
He's
and
like, "Oh, Danny is gonna go to the left flank right, and everyone stand over here. Danny's by himself, singing by himself. Rush, that line's rush. Like it's so funny.
It's really good. And then like there's like it kind of pays off because then they do the spring play or whatever, and when they win, he's like, "Yeah!" Like,
He's super hyped or whatever.
Yeah.
They just won the game or some shit.
Yeah, so that was really fun. Again, it's like the small details in this movie that I really like.
Like all the minor characters work because like they're not on it all the time.
Yeah.
Like they kind of take breaks and like there's other characters show up and then like you kind of come back like, oh, that character's back or whatever.
And they don't feel like they're designed only to be like, oh, I'm a minor character in this movie to do this one bit. Like they seem like they're
they all
part
feel
of
real people.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
part of the whole thing.
That's why the writing I think is so well. It's like it
Yeah.
feels like very realistic.
Mhm.
Like the dialogue and like how these characters interact. Like, I see some of them like for a while because again like you don't see everyone in your life all the fucking time.
Mhm.
But you see like the mom, dad, and the brother character most because again it's her family. She's home, but she wants to avoid them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like that's why like, there are breaks between them as well.
Yeah.
Where like there's never one character with her all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's always at least like a new person. Like
Kind of fading in.
Yeah,
and
every
out,
other scene.
So it's nice.
one quick shout out.
Sure.
When they're kind of driving, there's like they show like random scenes of the place. They show the Sacramento Kings logo.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. I think that was the last time they went to the playoffs, and they haven't been there since.
Wow.
So I don't know why she's talking about small bumfuck town. They were the Kings back then. That's the team's name actually is the Kings.
I was gonna say like Sacramento is not a tiny bumfuck town.
No,
Like,
yeah, no,
I know
definitely
that. I've heard there's like stadiums and stuff in there. Like I'm aware. Of
There's a
Sacramento.
basketball team there, and back then they were like
What's basketball?
it's an
Sports?
activity that
Oh.
people do that are not fat.
See,
Hey,
I only know soccer. I'm a little Mexican.
Oh, so you're a
boy.
foreigner.
I'm a little beaner boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know any sports.
You should
Loser.
learn.
I work out.
No.
I don't need
So
sports.
fake.
Fake sports.
Fake sports. actually.
On that note, I think we should start wrapping it up, guys.
Yeah, we should. In general, this is a really good
Great
movie.
movie.
I've been interested in it since I saw the trailer a couple years back, but I just never got around to watching it. And it definitely held up to what I was expecting it to be, and it's definitely one of my favorite movies that we've seen for this show so far.
Literally, the reason I know of it is because it was like nominated for a bunch of shit, in the 2017 Oscars, like director, movie, actress, what's it called, like the fucking not main actress. What the fuck they call
the
it?
supporting actor.
Supporting actor. I don't know how I blanked that.
Yeah.
The mom. And then like original screenplay.
From I remember,
None of it won.
It didn't win anything.
Yeah, it
right?
didn't win anything.
No.
Okay.
But like I heard of that because that was the same year Blade Runner. And a
Mhm.
bunch of other great movies came out that year too. So I was like, when I heard that, I was in spite, kind of like, how dare this movie be nominated with like these other great movies and blah blah. blah. So I was like, fuck this movie. I didn't know nothing about.
How
the
dare
fucking
this movie win or get nominated when Spider-Man didn't?
I wouldn't
Yeah.
say that.
The audacity of the Academy.
Yeah.
That was like Ladybird. I thought it was like gonna be like a literal thing.
Yeah.
like it's like
Thor
a bird.
Ragnarok.
Like you thought it was gonna be like Birdman or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, like some weird ass shit. Because I only see the poster of it, and literally just Ladybird.
I've-
Like
Face,
yeah,
yeah.
face, and that's it.
I've only heard the name before.
So I didn't know.
Oh,
of
so
it.
you had no idea
No.
anything about this movie?
No.
Okay.
I think the first time I saw the trailer for it was when we're picking this movie, and I want to see the trailer before I watched the movie.
You like
And that was the
hover-
first time.
like hovered over it on Netflix.
And I was just like, oh, that's what this movie. Okay, it's not terrible.
It's not about
movie.
it's not about a bird
Oh,
person.
it's a normal person. I was like, okay, then I just watched it. And I was,
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot.
All right.
Well, I guess now it's time to pick our next
Let's
film.
pull out the wheel.
I believe it's
It's a
wait.
Sam. Oh wait, no, we're picking a new one now, right?
but what's the-
Between all three of us.
Yeah, it's between all three of us.
Yeah. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's spin the wheel. Wait, you're spinning?
It's spinning the 3-person wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the three of us.
Oh wait, we need sound.
Yeah, let's get the sound in.
Do it
real
again.
quick.
What is it?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Spinning the wheel, baby.
Hey,
Omar.
it's
No, I'm just sorry.
it's back-to-back Sam movies.
Hey,
Cringe,
finally.
terrible movies.
Let's go. Let's see what we're watching.
All right, let's do it. What
I'm
are we
scared
getting?
it's gonna be fucking American Pie or whatever.
It's got to be American Pie, dude.
Just
Unbreakable.
as bad.
Unbreakable.
I'm just kidding.
I've been meaning to watch Unbreakable. I mean, did you guys see Split or Glass or any of those movies?
Yeah, I did. I ironically, the one I haven't seen
What?
is Unbreakable.
Oh, you
I've
haven't
never
seen-
seen
Oh,
Unbreakable.
okay.
My brother has. He said it was good. So,
Nice. Well, yeah, I've heard.
and I've heard it's like one of the few good M Night Shyamalan movies.
Yeah.
So I'm not scared. I'm like,
Guess
I'm
we'll
kinda
find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Later.
Now available to own on DVD and video.